Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jai Hind, Namaskar, and I welcome you all to this session of daily editorial analysis. So, I hope that all of you are doing well, and I hope that I am properly audible and visible to all of you. So, I welcome you all to this session, and in today's session, the topics which we are going to discuss, let us see that we will start with three topics. One topic is going to be related with this warning signals from NATO meeting. Second topic is going to be with respect to corruption. And the third topic is going to be about the AI, that the guardrails for AI, that is the topic which we are going to discuss. Okay. So these are the three topics: warning signals from NATO meeting, corruption, and guardrails for AI. So, yes, good morning, welcome. I welcome you all to this session, and let us start from this. So we are having three topics, and you can see the syllabus also, that we are having this first thing, that what's going on in NATO and what is the possible impact on India. That will be the first thing. Second thing is going to be about the corruption, and the third thing is about guardrails for AI. That AI is proliferating, it is having its expansion in almost all the sectors, and so we see that there is an increase in the risk because of AI. So we are going to discuss about this one part, that what should be done with respect to AI. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss. So let us first start with the first one, the warning signals for India from NATO's Ankara summit. I think you all are aware about NATO. I think if we talk about the NATO, if we see the basics of it, if we see the basics of NATO, it is a political military alliance. This is a political military alliance. Right now it is having 32 members. It is having 32 members. The recent members, if we look at this, if we look at the recent members, we are having Sweden and Finland. The recent members are Sweden and Finland. There is one thing about this NATO, there is a Article 5. There is a Article 5 which talks about collective defense. This is one article which talks about the collective defense. So we are having this one thing, we have the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is one such organization which is working for security, mostly of the Western Hemisphere, Europe and North America. Here we have got 32 members. 32 members, the recent ones being the Sweden and Finland. We see that they have one thing called as collective defense, that if there is an attack against one NATO member, it will be considered as attack against all the members, and everyone will be cooperating. Now, recently there was a change in NATO, and that change was that they have a mandate. They are having a mandate, and that mandate is spending 5% of GDP on defense. They have a mandate that they are going to spend 5% of their GDP on defense. Now, in the recent time, we see that there has been two different things which are going on. There have been two different crises which is going on. So, in the case of NATO also, we see that two crises. One is Russia-Ukraine war, which is impacting Europe, and of course, the West Asia crisis. West Asia crisis. There are two things which are going on simultaneously in the world right now. One is the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and one is the West Asia crisis. Okay. So you all know about this, that Russia attacked Ukraine. Russia attacked Ukraine. But the thing is, why? Why did Russia attack Ukraine? Why was Russia attacking Ukraine? Why it got that much provoked that it has to attack Ukraine? The thing was, NATO was expanding. There was a time when NATO was having only 12 members. Now it is having 32 members. Okay. So we see that there was a eastward expansion of NATO. Okay. What we see that there was one thing, eastward expansion. There was one of the approach, eastward expansion of NATO. That was one of the major reason. That was one of the major reason why Russia attacked NATO. Sorry, why Russia attacked Ukraine. There was an eastward expansion of NATO. We see that Ukraine was likely to join. Ukraine was likely to join NATO. Ukraine was likely to join NATO. And then it would have become problematic for Russia. Then it may have become challenging for Russia. So they thought, let us block this. So by attacking on Ukraine, Russia effectively blocked the entry of Ukraine into NATO. You may see that meanwhile Sweden and Finland has been included, but NATO has not included Ukraine. NATO has not included Ukraine. They have included Sweden, they have included Finland. They are supporting the Ukraine, but they are not letting the Ukraine become a member of NATO. So what we see that Russia effectively, what we see that they blocked entry of Ukraine in NATO. They blocked the entry of Ukraine in NATO. So that is one thing which we see here, that effectively the Ukraine's entry to NATO was blocked by them. Okay. Now there is one more thing which we have to understand here, that while they have been able to do this, there is one missing part. Okay. That however, what we see, that however, politically neutral Sweden and Finland joined NATO. So this was one of the outcome. This was one of the outcome of this Ukraine war. Okay. So due to this attack on Ukraine, we see that the Sweden and Finland, they have joined NATO. They have remained politically neutral for a long period of time. But after the Russia's attack on this, they have joined, Russia's attack on this Ukraine, they have joined the NATO. So on one hand, they have prevented one country to become a member of NATO. On the other hand, they have let two other countries become a member of NATO. So they blocked Ukraine, but then it instigated Sweden and Finland to join NATO. That is one of the part. The second part is what we see, the West Asian crisis. Now in the West Asia, we see that the resources are getting exhausted. Resources are getting exhausted. The resources are getting exhausted. In the same thing here, what we see in this crisis also, we look at this, that Europe is supporting Ukraine. Europe is supporting Ukraine. So here also we see that resource crunch. So when we are looking at Europe, or NATO, we see that two different scenarios are developing. One is the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Due to Russia-Ukraine crisis, Europe is supporting Ukraine. Supporting means they are providing the weapons, they are providing the defense equipments. So what we see that on one side we have Russia and Ukraine war, where Europe is supporting Ukraine. Due to that support, their resources are getting exhausted. Their defense resources are getting exhausted. On the other hand, US, which was a major part of this NATO, now what they have done, they have started this West Asian crisis, and there also we see that the resources are getting exhausted. It will take more than 1 decade. It will take more than 1 decade for US to again fulfill the resources in this West Asia region. So we see that their resources are getting lesser and lesser. Now see, in this context, what we see that recently there was the NATO meeting. There was this NATO meeting. It was there in Antalya, in Turkey. There was this recent meeting of the NATO members. In this Turkey, in this Antalya. We see that due to this, in this recent meeting, we see that there has been certain development. Okay. First thing, what we see that there is a commitment. Of 5% spending of GDP on defense. So one of the major thing which the countries have agreed, which the countries have decided, that they are going to spend 5%, okay, 5% of their GDP on defense by 2035. Okay. So this, they have said that they are going to follow this. Okay. Then the second thing is, they have like again said that the Article 5 is still valid. Okay, they have like commitment to collective defense. There is a commitment. To collective defense. Under Article 5. There is a commitment to collective defense under Article 5. But what has been the major support? There is third thing is that it is going to support Ukraine. The third major thing is that support to Ukraine will continue. Support to Ukraine will continue. And the fourth major thing, in fact the most important thing, is the defense industrial base. The fourth major thing which has been decided here, that setup of defense industrial base. Defense industrial base in Europe. This is the most important outcome of this NATO meeting in 2026. This is the most important outcome of this meeting. The most important outcome of this meeting is that they have agreed for defense industrial base in Europe, which will be used for development of weapons, development of the defense equipments in Europe. So that is a major change which is there in Europe. Now the thing is that how does it affect us? The article is saying that it is a warning for us. So how does it affect us? that what we have to do with NATO, what or how India is affected, how India is affected, how India is affected. Now you see this one thing, that if we are talking about India, we see that when we talk about India, we look at this, India is a major purchaser. India is a major purchaser of defense equipments. India is a major purchaser of defense equipments. So we are dependent. There is a dependency. There is a dependency on Israel, France, US, European Union, etc. Of course, we have a dependency on Russia also, but we are also getting many such weapons from, we are having not European Union as of now. Let's delete this part. Okay. Not European Union as of now, but we do have dependence on them. We have even dependence on Germany also. Okay. So we have been having defense deal with many of these countries. Okay. Now what we see that these nations, they are facing resource crunch. They are facing a resource crunch themselves. They are having the resource crunch. We see that there has been delay in delivery. There has been delay in delivery. There has been delay in delivery from US also. So there is a delay in delivery from United States also. Okay. So we see that dependency on Israel, France, United States, etc. And here we have seen Germany. So we are having a dependency on all these nations. And we see that there has been a continuous delay. Why the delay? They are engaged in a dual war. On one side, they are having Ukraine war. On one side, they are having the Asian war. Okay. So European Union I have deleted, not European Union as such. Here it is etc. Okay. And then after we are having Germany. Okay. So now what we see that this is one of the challenge. This is one of the challenge. But can we see this as an opportunity? Can we see this as an opportunity? Okay. We see that this challenge which is there, it is also an opportunity. This is also an opportunity. This is opportunity for self-reliance. This is an opportunity for self-reliance. There is an opportunity for defense exports. There is an opportunity for collaboration with European nations. This is an opportunity for collaboration with European nations. Okay. The export can be going to UAE, Gulf nations, European Union. There can be collaboration with European Union, France, Germany. So this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for self-reliance. This is again an opportunity for Make in India. Make in India. We have already got defense corridors. We have already got defense corridors. We have already seen that there has been corporatization of ordnance factories. So what we see that these are some of the government steps which has already been taken. These are some of the government steps which has already been taken right now. So this is something which is both an opportunity for us. This is something which is a challenge for us. Okay. We see that this is one of the challenge. This is a challenge for us that we are having. We are going to face the crunch. We see that this may lead to delay in supply. That is one thing we have seen. Higher prices. There can also be higher prices. So there can be a higher prices also, delay in delivery also. We see that these challenges may be there, but at the same time, there is an opportunity also which we see here. So we are having this one thing that we see that right now we have seen the NATO. NATO is going through two crises. One is the Russia-Ukraine crisis, one is the West Asian crisis. Now in both crises, we see that there has been one challenge that they are getting exhausted. The resources of Europe is getting exhausted. The resources of Europe is getting exhausted. Now in this situation, there has been a recent NATO meeting. Now in the NATO meeting also, what we see that there has been four different things. They have said that they are going for commitment of 5% spending. Second, commitment to collective defense. Third, support to Ukraine. And fourth, very important part, setup of defense industrial base in Europe. That is the part of NATO meeting. Now what we see that at the same time, we have this one thing that how India is affected. We are having the challenge on one side and we are having opportunity on other side. Okay. So I hope it's clear. I hope it's clear. I hope it's clear to everyone. Dekho, Anshu, we are having the Hindi classes in the evening. So we will have the Hindi classes in the evening. This is English class. So see this one thing. The European and Asian crisis provides both opportunity and challenges for Indian defense sector. Discuss. I think this will be a quite easy question for you to write. This is a very easy question for you to write. I think you can write it easily now. Okay. Coming to the second part. The second article is with respect to this one thing called as, is corruption the biggest threat? Is corruption the biggest threat to Indian future? So what do you think? What is your viewpoint on this? Is corruption the biggest threat? Is corruption the biggest threat to Indian future? Yes, it has become an easy question because I have told you in such a manner that it becomes easy for you to write. I have explained it in such a manner and question is exactly on this. So you can write that easily. But then if question is easy, so your representation has to be somewhat unique. Okay, So let's start with this one thing. Okay. So we have this one part that when we are talking about corruption in India, this is one discussion. Okay. That when we are talking about corruption, we have one thing called as the corruption. So from the past itself, it is a very much important problem. Or so what we see that corruption, it exists from it exists from it exists from the highest level to everyday public life. It exists from highest level to everyday public life. We see that everyone is getting impacted. We have said that uh, sir, how is defense export an opportunity when we are ourselves dependent on purchasing from other nations? Okay, I will come to that. Let me discuss this article first, then we will come to that again. Okay, so keep that one thing in mind. Okay. So wait for it. We will discuss this. The UN question also, I will come to that. Okay. So exist from the highest level to everyday public life. Okay. What has been our approach? The approach is digitization. The approach is digitization. The approach is direct benefit transfer in schemes. There has been approaches of digitization. There has been approaches of direct benefit transfer in the scheme. Okay. So what we see that there has been one thing. Okay. There has been one thing like in all these things, there has been a rise of a new form. There is a rise of a new form of corruption. And the reason behind this is there is a digital illiteracy. It is due to the rise of a new form of corruption due to digital illiteracy. We see that there are many people, suppose we are talking about farmers, we are talking about the laborers, they have been told that, or suppose we are talking about MG Narega workers or others. So they have been told that there will be direct benefit transfer, there will be many things which will be digital in nature. So fine, everything is fine, but are they digitally empowered? Are they having that digital capacity? So we see that there is one new form of crime or new form of thing which has been existing, and that is like there is a rise of a new form of corruption due to the digital illiteracy. Okay. So this is one of the part. Okay, we see that like this is one of the changing aspect. Okay. Now what we see that at the same time there is also one more thing, that retail corruption. This is something which has got modified to wholesale corruption. If you remember, we have discussed about this in the past also. अगर आपको याद हो, इसके पहले भी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा है. Retail corruption versus wholesale corruption. Do you remember that part? Last week, perhaps we have discussed about this retail corruption versus wholesale corruption. So we see that now the retail corruption has in fact changed into a wholesale corruption. Now it is not impacting public directly, but indirectly it is having a huge impact on the public, huge impact on the masses. Okay. So we have this one changing form of the corruption. We have this change in the form of corruption. Now again what we see that there has been one thing there has been one thing when we are talking about India. When we talk about India, there has been certain laws like we have the RTI Act, but we see that many of its provisions are diluted now. Many of its provisions are diluted. Many of its provisions are diluted. We see that the DPDP Act, the DPDP Act, okay, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, the DPDP Act of 2023. The DPDP Act of 2023. This is our second article. This is our second article. Just one second. So DPDP Act. Now this exempts. This one exempts the public officials from revealing details due to right to privacy. So we have a DPDP Act of 2023. Now this exempts the public officials from revealing the details. They are being provided the option of this. They are being provided the option of this. What we see, the right to privacy. So that is one of the way of exempting them from revealing the details with respect to what corruption they are doing, how much wealth they have accumulated. So in the name of right to privacy, they have been exempting from revealing details as per the DPDP Act. So it has modified the provisions of RTI Act also. Then we see that there is a third important part. That there is this Whistleblower Protection Act. Now, here again, the protection is very limited now. The protection and anonymity has been reduced. Okay. So the protection and the anonymity which was there, it has been reduced. We see that has also been done away with. The whistleblower protection is not so much. That is another challenge. The fourth part which we see here, that the weakening of institutions. There is weakening of institutions. There is the weakening of institutions. And in weakening of institutions, we see that there are multiple layers. We see that Lokayukt, Lokayukts. We see that in the case of Lokayukts, we have several vacancies. There is several vacancies which are existing in the Lokayukts. There has been several vacancies for multiple years. In fact, last year, we see that in Lokpal and Lokayukts, in the Lokpal and Lokayukts, we see that there is several vacancies which are existing for multiple years. Sorry, multiple layers, multiple years. For multiple years. So we see that in the case of Lokpal and Lokayukt, there have been several vacancies for years. Second thing which we see that the judiciary, it is clogged with enormous number of cases. Enormous number of cases and paralyzed by vacancies. The judiciary is clogged with enormous number of cases and paralyzed by vacancies in the courts. Still, we see that 30% vacancies are existing in high courts. So there is a 30% vacancy in high courts also. So we see that there is a 30% vacancy. There is a 30% vacancy. Okay. What we see, there is a third part. There is a third part of it. There is a third part of it, that is weakening of parliament. There is a weakening of parliament. We see that, okay, we see that this is one of the part where we see that there is lesser number of sittings, frequent disruptions, lower accountability of executive. There is a lower accountability of executive. We see that there is use of guillotine in passing bills. There is use of guillotine in passing bills. I think you are aware about guillotine. Guillotine is the same tool which was used during the French struggle. In France, we have seen the use of guillotine. So the people were cut, chopped off using guillotine. So we see that in our parliament also there is one thing called as guillotine, where the bills are chopped off at once. All the bills are passed at once without even having a proper discussion. So we are having passing of bill without proper discussion. We are having no discussion about the accountability of the government. Okay. So this is one of the things which we see. So that is one of the part which we see here, that transparency and other things, they have become weaker. Okay. So the institutions have become weaker. And what is the impact of it? If we talk about this, what is the impact? I think you can tell it yourself. Yeah. Here we see that the impact is lack of public trust. There is a lack of public trust. We see that there is one important thing, that there is wastage of resources. There is wastage of resources. We see that corruption promotes corruption. Corruption promotes corruption. In fact, you will see that corruption is going to create weak institutions. And weak institutions are going to lead to corruption. So you will find that corruption is something which leads to weakening of institution. and the weakening of institutions lead to more corruption. More corruption will lead to become more weakening of institutions. So what suggestions you can give? I am going to leave that to you. You have to give some innovative ideas. When we will talk about the answer of this question, then I will talk about the suggestions, but I'm leaving it up to you. You have to search something for this, that what can be the suggestion for it, how we can improve it. So have some unique ideas from your side. Next time in the Monday class, I will ask you this, that what suggestions you have written. We are especially going to ask about this one question. So can you read about it? Not just anything which comes to your mind. Not just anything which comes to your mind. Everyone can say that we can make laws, we can make institutions. Come with some innovative ideas. Come with some of the innovative ideas, something unique. Okay. So that will be one of the question for you. That when the institution becomes weak, corruption becomes the rule. Elaborate. This is going to be the question. When the when the institution becomes weak, corruptions become the rule. Elaborate. So there you have to give the suggestion. Okay. Now, coming to the third part. सबसे पहले तो simplify laws and procedures, okay? So think about this. Take some hint from global, from other countries. Take some hint from other countries. What they have done for corruption there. So read about this. This is a very important part of your syllabus. आपको मालूम है in your GS paper 2 also and in GS paper 4 also. This is one of the most significant part of your topic for your syllabus. So read about this topic, know about this topic, and then let me know about this topic. Okay. Now, coming to this one thing, guardrails for the first AI native generation. Ethical governance, how it will be promoted? Tell me. We have people who are trained in ethics, those who have secured 120, 130 marks in ethics. So they have got 130 marks. They have got training in various institutions for ethics. They have been trained for ethics for years. And then after we see their ethical behavior. See, I'm not talking about police, but if we talk about the IAS and IPS officers, if we are talking about IAS and IPS officers, what we see that they are trained exhaustively for at least 1 year for IAS, 2 years for IPS officers, and in their job also they are having multiple workshops from time to time. They pass the ethics paper with good number. And still we are not able to instill the ethics compassion in them. So how the things are going to change? Now, coming to this one part, the AI. First of all, let us see the risks. Okay. That when we are talking about the AI, first of all, we have to understand that what is the risk or what are the challenges. Okay. We see that there is one risk. When we are talking about the AI, there is one of the very prominent risk, and that is inappropriate content. One of the risks, when we are talking about just the risks part of it, so one of the very important part of it, that we are going to have the inappropriate content which we see. Okay. Then we see that not designed, it is not designed for children or teenagers, but they are one of the major users. They are one of the major users, but it has not been designed for them. It has not been curated for them. Okay. There is also this privacy concern. Okay. There is also this one thing called as the privacy concern. Saving of data and potential future misuse. The AI is saving your data. The AI is saving your data. So when AI is saving your data, then there is a chance that in future it can be a challenging part. In future it can be a challenging part. Okay. Now what we see that this is one of the part where we see that there is the saving of data, the privacy concern. Then at the same time we are also seeing that misleading information, misleading info, harmful content, that is also one of the challenge. We see that there is also a regulatory gap and limited oversight on AI models at present. There is limited parental control also. Limited parental control features. There is also regulatory gaps. There is also regulatory gaps. So right now when we are talking about the AI, there are multiple risks which are existing. Deepfakes are also there. Yes, you can say that in the misleading things. You can talk about biasness also. Okay. So biasness, misleading info means quality of the information which is there. Quality of the information, how it is being controlled, the saving, the privacy concern, the regulatory gaps. These are certain risks of the AI. Now in this context, what we see that there are 4 different suggestions which have been provided. There are 4 suggestions which have been provided by the author. The first suggestion is about the design. The first suggestion is about the design of the AI. The first suggestion is about the design of the AI, and it is saying that we have to introduce a stronger default safety settings. Stronger default safety settings. Let me give you one example. What do we mean by default safety settings? Okay. There is one mobile company, okay, Apple. Okay. You know that they are making iPhones. Now, iPhones may not have many features which Android is having. iPhone may not have the best possible camera quality. Of course, some of the phones are having much more better camera quality. That's fine. But when it comes to the safety features, when it comes to the privacy, it is the hallmark of it. It is the hallmark of it. You will find this one thing that in iPhones, even if you have given access of your photos, your contacts, or your files to any of the application. They have by default this setting that after a certain period of time, they will remove all the access to the photos, contacts, and other files for many apps. Okay. For many of the apps. And again, there will be a question for you that do you want to give the access again to these applications for your photos, for your audio files, for your contacts or others? In fact, you can choose also there that which photo you want a app to access. You can choose individual photos. Like suppose if you are having Instagram, so Instagram will not be having access to all the photos in your gallery. You can especially choose that, okay, this one photo, I will allow Instagram to see this one photo. But for all other photos, they will not be having access. Similarly, you can choose for each and every app that which contact you want them to see, which photos you want to see them, do you want them to see the locations, and even if you allow, then after a certain period of time, it is again reset. It is again reset. The default setting is that you can access nothing. The default setting is that you can access nothing. But on the other hand, you will see that in the case of Android mobile phones, there is a normal setting that once you have done the setting, they will get access to everything. When you are installing an app, during that time, you will be asked for permission. Once you have given the permission, then throughout that app's lifetime, they are going to have access, or throughout your mobile's lifetime, they are going to have access to that thing. So there is a by default setting. There is a by default setting, and that has to be strong. So it has not to be done by the person. It should be a by default setting. It by default, there will be a strong privacy rules. Okay. So this is one of the part which has to be done. Okay. There is a boundary which has to be set. A clear boundary for behavior of AI. Clear boundaries for AI behavior, that how the AI is going to behave for AI behavior. So there should be a clear boundaries for AI behavior. There should be detection. There should be like those AI which prioritize the user well-being. Okay. AI needs to prioritize users well-being. So this is one of the thing which we have to do. Okay. So there is a need of balancing safety, privacy and freedom. Okay. So there is a need to balance safety, privacy and freedom. So that is first thing, that by design, what should be the improvement? That what should be the improvement in the design of the AI models? Second thing is empowering the parents. Empowering parents for AI use by children or teenagers. That we need to empower the parents. Okay. And for this purpose, there should be easy to use guidance on AI. There should be easy to use guidance for AI, that it should be allowed. Okay. Then there should be simple parental controls. There should be a simple parental controls. There should also be like more transparency and visibility. Transparency and visibility of AI uses by children. So parents should have access to how their children are using the AI. Parents should have access to. So what we see that more transparency and visibility of AI uses by children should be there. Okay. Now at the same time, we see that there is another thing which should be there, and that is the schools and teachers. Okay. So the school and teacher, that the schools and teachers, they should become the primary stakeholder in AI adoption. So they should be central stakeholder in AI adoption. That they should be the one who should be leading this movement, that how the children have to use the AI. Then at the same time, this should be used to enhance, not replace teaching. Okay. Use of AI to enhance, not replace teaching. That AI should be used for enhancing but not replacing the teaching. Okay. So then there is one part, and then of course the regulatory framework. Regulatory framework. This is should be there for design, for design, for control, for monitoring, yeah, oversight, and of course for transparency. So we need to have the framework. We need to have the framework for all these things, the regulatory framework for all these matters. Okay. I hope that is clear. I hope all these portions are clear. What should be the approach in the AI? Yes, it supports creativity and skills. That correct. So see, these are the risks. We have seen that when we are talking about the AI for the new generation, these are the risks and these are the solutions. So four different solutions have been provided. Okay. So देखो, you should have a separate page or file for AI related things. We have got so many content coming from time to time for AI related matter. You should have them all at one place. Okay. There is one question. It is getting auto translated. हेलो सर, क्या यूपीएससी वाले एडिटोरियल क्लास? हाँ, यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए ही है. दिस इज फॉर यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स ओनली. ये जो क्लास है, दिस इज फॉर यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स ओनली. तो सी, दीज आर द थ्री टॉपिक्स. इसके बेसिस पे आपको दो आंसर लिखने हैं. देयर आर टू आंसर्स आल्सो व्हिच यू हैव टू राइट. द यूरोपियन एंड एशियन क्राइसिस एंड व्हेन द इंस्टीट्यूशंस बिकम वीक, द corruption becomes the rule. So these are the two questions which you have to write. Okay. Now the thing is, that let's come to this one question. So did you download Sanchar Sathi? See, I have very limited number of applications in my mobile phone. Very limited. So no such app. Like very few like apps. Because I am not able to use. If I am not able to use, what is the point of it? Right? If the government used AI facial recognition to scan every student's face during a peaceful protest, does it strengthen democracy by ensuring security or weaken democracy by creating fear among citizens? See, if we talk about AI facial recognition, now suppose even if government is using it, let us say that they are using it. So where they will go? They will also file a case. That case will go to judiciary. Now in judiciary, they have to give the evidence that on what basis you have collected the evidence, how you have collected the evidence. They will have to give report. And when it comes to judiciary, it is very much strict about how you have to use the AI. So don't worry about it. Government will not decide the case, na? The case will be decided in the court. The case is going to be decided in the court. It is not going to be decided by the government. Okay. Now come to this question. India possesses both the capability and the strategic responsibility to prevent another Red Sea shipping crisis. Last day we have discussed this one thing. So you know that in the introduction, you can mention the Red Sea. You can mention about the Red Sea vulnerability. You can mention the first part, that the Red Sea vulnerability. Okay. First thing is you can mention Red Sea vulnerability in the introduction. Then you can talk about, you can make a flow chart. This flow chart is, or you can make this diagrammatic representation about global capability. Here you can mention that West Asia, it is already having challenge, suffering loss. We see that US, this is already exhausted. European Union facing double burden or facing Ukraine crisis. So you can make a flow chart like this, that what is the position of the world right now. That we are having this one thing, introduction, where we are having the Red Sea vulnerability. They can make this global capability, how the world is struggling right now. Then let's talk about India. Okay. That for India, what is the significance? What is the significance? We see that 1/3 of trade, 1/3 of trade, our relations with Europe, our relations with European Union, trade with UK, and also the centrality in Indian Ocean. You can mention that why it is significant for India, why it is significant for India to take control of this region. We have our 1/3 of trade passing through this area, our relations with US, our trade with UK, centrality in Indian Ocean. That is 4 part, that why we need to consider this, why Red Sea is significant. Then Indian capability. Indian capability. You can mention about Indian naval, Indian Navy. Okay. You can mention about the Indian Navy, that we have got a strategic presence in this area. We have got a strategic presence in this area. You can mention about the past examples, like last time where there was this Red Sea crisis. India has been one of the key security providers in this area. Okay. So first, mention about the Indian Navy capability, that Indian Navy is one of the most powerful navies in the world. and the most dominant one in the Indian Ocean. Okay. So this is one part which you can mention. Second thing, the previous examples, previous instances, last time when the Houthi rebels and Somalian pirates, the Houthi rebels and the Somalian pirates, when they were attacking, India was one of the country which has been able to safeguard not just the Indian ships but the many ships of other countries also in this area. So there have been some previous examples also. This is the first part, the second part, the third part, the fourth part. Then now if you are having the space, you can make another part, or in the conclusion you can talk about collaboration with like-minded countries. That we need to enhance our capabilities, but at the same time we can have collaboration with other like-minded countries like that of Europe, France, because then it can be a collective approach where India can emerge as a leader and a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region. So this is how you have to proceed with this answer. Dekho, I have written just the main points, but yes, you can write the answer in this manner by expanding it a little bit. इसको थोड़ा सा expand करके भी आप ऐसे लिख सकते हो. जरूरी नहीं कि we have to go with the traditional mode where we will be writing only just point by point. You can make these flow chart like structures also. हाँ, इसको थोड़ा सा expand और करना है. I have written just the main headlines, but you can expand it a little and you can write the answer like this also. So it can be somewhat creative. Okay. So this is one thing which you can do. The future generation should follow only the profession of doctor and judge. Why not teacher? Why not the teacher? Okay, there is another question. How is defense export an opportunity when we are ourselves dependent on purchasing from other nations? See, the thing is, right now, of course, we are purchasing from other nations, but you may have seen that in the recent 8 to 10 years, we have also emerged as an exporter of weapons. We are exporting our weapons to Indonesia. We are doing it for Armenia. We are doing it for some of the countries of Europe also. We are exporting it to many other nations. So it's not that we have not started exporting. We have the capability, and if there is a market, we have to capitalize it. If there is a market, we have to capitalize it. So we can invest in India, we can make in India, and then we can export from India. IAS कौन बनेगा जब सब डॉक्टर इंजीनियर बनेंगे? आप लोग बनोगे? See, it's not that we have a problem with any profession. The problem is that people are not doing their job in a proper manner. The people are not that much dedicated, that much honest with their job. The problem is not with the job. Problem is not even with the person. The problem is that they have to be sincere, they have to be responsible, they have to be honest with respect to their job. Everything has its own importance. Okay. So thank you everyone, and I want you all to become a member of the civil services. So Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change that you want to see in the world. So you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. So thank you everyone. Take care. We will meet on Monday. On Monday, we will discuss new editorials. Meanwhile, I have given you a task that in the last 1 or 2 months, we have gone through multiple editorials. So make a list of it, consolidate it at one place so that we can have a better idea of preparation of our exam. So thank you everyone. Take care. All the best, and let's meet on Monday. Thank you.